attrition is in your camp. They're setting themselves up for a chicken dinner, but Zerich will expire.
For Duxan, this is going to be a very, very important game for them. You know, 3 eliminations, it's not ideal. You go out this with a second place, 6 points, 9 points total. It doesn't feel great, but if you're able to get your chicken dinner off the back of this in a 2v3, you know, 13 points on this match feels really decent coming into the rest of the day. And with the blue pushing in, it is very, very ideal for them, but the Mad Bulls just look so absolutely clean today. They looked it yesterday as well, and they picked themselves up yet another chicken dinner. That is 3 in the space of 2 days.
That's huge from Mad Bulls. A complete change of pace from what we were seeing from them, looking an awful lot better. And also now, Blank, it goes back to our point about the fact that you don't want to leave it up to another team to decide your fate in the survival stage. You want to make as many points as possible in the limited number of games you have to play. And that's what Mad Bulls are doing in droves.
Yeah, it's a stressful game for Mad Bulls as well. Not an easy one. You can see that they're not super excited about this because it's more of a relief than anything they're able to pull off that chicken dinner. Playing within Lipovka, there was so much infighting in that area, getting forced out by the Gladiators. I think it was a very wise move for them to actually just send across from the rock side in the water toward those buildings. Yes, they had to fight for it versus Malise Esports, but they were confident to do that, and it sort of gave them that winning position. I think things got dicey as soon as they started to see the circle move towards the north side. Like, have we made a mistake? Did we make the right call here? But you just got to follow through. 44,000 kilometers travel for Gladiators once again. These rotates are coming through quicker. They're more confident with them. I don't know what happened between the space of yesterday and today, but there has been some serious conversations between these lads on the team.
Something's happened, you know. I don't know if it happened at the hotel breakfast or where it was, but it seems like Gladiators have got their heads screwed back on, and they're playing some really nice PUBG Mobile today, Blank. You know, this is exactly what we wanted to see in terms of them giving us a good game, showing us they deserve the invite in the first place and that they're able to make some moves here. What more will be in store for us though, and can they keep it up? We'll find out. Let's get back to the desk with the #1 Gladiators fan. It's Jason Kaplan.
Sorry, I think Jackie mixspoke there. Mixspoke. That's the #1 Gladiator fan ever. But we have to say, it wouldn't be Gladiators if they didn't show up exactly when they needed to kind of advance on through in an event. And hey, you know, credit to them, another massive game for them in terms of eliminations, great positioning as well. They were able to crash in NBA Esports and kind of do the exact same thing, just the other way around from the prior match. But also, Mad Bulls, man, like, there's so many things to talk about. Oh, you know what? We're not gonna talk. No, let's do it. Maxman talked about Gladiators, and then we'll hop to what I have ready for Cloris.
Okay, Jason McSpoke. But okay, Gladiators. I didn't want to talk about them because I didn't want to curse them, Jason. Okay, that was the reason behind it. Now I see. Okay, but right now, Gladiators, of course, playing that high ground position, able to leapfrog in the position that Mad Bulls left open after they regrouped from that 2-2 split was a really good spot. And also, one thing I enjoyed, Cloris, from Gladiators is they tried to go for that high ground on the road. They tried to fight Enbest. They tried to also fight Doug Sandwich. Ended up not working out, but I think that if you're not in the city, you want to avoid a lot of that fight happening in Lipovka. Going for that high ground does give you a bit of an advantage. It didn't quite work out because Duxan had such a good angle, but I think that was going to be a game-winning play if they could survive until the later stage.
Honestly, I mean, yeah, go on.
No, you go on.
I was going doolally in this game, if I'm honest, Jason. I was going crazy because how often do you see a basically close to Lipovka end like this? And for teams to try and manage their way through that, as you say, with Gladiators doing really well in terms of the eliminations and then going to the west for the rotate to try and make this work. Never mind, Mad Bulls winning off a 2-2 split across the rocks of north of Lipovka and in Lipovka. Where do you begin? There's so much to talk about.
Well, obviously the smoke wall that Maxman brought up while we saw Mad Bulls able to transition with the PL smoke wall, as he coined it, to get through safely was something to be seen. But if we're talking about how teams got into Lipovka, let's also mention Alter Ego, Colaris.
Oh.
Do it! Come on.
What are they doing? All right.
You got really close to the mic there.
I got really close to the mic. Okay, they're the Lipovka dropping team. Where were they? Okay, they moved west, right? They got lost one to heaven as they were walking through to heaven, which is ridiculous. And then they moved north, and then they have to swim all the way back to Lipovka. They are lost at present. They are taking, I said it before this game, constantly taking risks here in PUBG Mobile. They're playing a very risky style. They've got splits. They're walking where they shouldn't be, going where they shouldn't be. And eventually, yes, they salvaged this, but only because teams that had track of them swimming probably was Precision, but they got kind of rocked up on Gladiators and kind of lost in the mix. So they were allowed to come back up on the shore of Lipovka. Am I taking crazy pills? Anyway, yeah,
Lost him.
I'm done.
Well, not to mention, you also pointed out, too, when we were watching that Gladiators is probably the only team that could see them rock up on the beach, but they were about at that 400-meter distance mark away, so potentially not seeing them. Obviously, Melise was in Lipovka, potentially not looking towards them, and we even saw Kissu like, wait, what are you guys doing in that building? How did you guys even get here?
Yeah.
He's going mad. I've never seen him like this.
Melise was like, who is he? What's going on next door? And suddenly, they were just... Anyway, I'm done.
You know what? You know what, Kalaris? You need to cool down by playing some of the Frost Festival currently going on within PUBG Mobile. You can revel in the exhilaration of gliding down the slopes in a snowboard and using snow mounts like Max-Man talked about yesterday, potentially turning people into snowmen as well. Make sure you guys load up PUBG Mobile, download the new update, and participate and play. Because also while you're playing, we do have the 2023 Popularity Annual Gala happening with PUBG Mobile introducing a brand new competition, exclusive honorable rewards for you guys at home to participate and win. It's all kicking off between November 15th and December 15th, so make sure you guys are getting into the game and potentially able to win some rewards you can show off to your friends. Also, while you're playing in this one, don't forget about the Pagani collaboration happening within PUBG Mobile as well. You can rub the engine with the iconic Pagani Amola and Zonda R models, which I believe. Kalaris, are you ready to be salesman yet again? Tell us the
740 brake horsepower. You got a V12 engine as well as 710 Newton meters of torque, Jason. It's a car for you, but it's very expensive in real life.
Well, my question is, can I fit in the car? Because we all know I'm extremely tall.
Probably you cannot, actually. You're probably too tall.
Okay, well, that's a shame. Maybe we can get special order one and make one for me. And also, last but not least, before we head to a break here, the new RPA4 Victory Dance, which is available now. You guys can show off your victories with the PMGC vibe and also use your Victory Dance to cheer for your favorite PUBG Mobile team. And we all know who people are voting for. Max is all aboard the Gladiator train, but we have to wait till that train takes off after the side of a short break. Well, Max, I know how you are the biggest fan of Gladiators, but luckily for you, we don't have to talk about them too much more because it looks like with the points they've gotten these last two matches alone, that should almost guarantee them a safe position into our last chance. However, it does get easier from there. Keep in mind, it's only 16 teams advancing from this into that, and it's only 5 teams advancing from the last chance to get back into the PMGC Grand Final. So a lot of work to come for the Gladiators and obviously a lot of other teams out there. But as we are about to head into our second air angle, my question is this. Kalaris, Alter Ego, are we going to see a word rotation again?
Maybe. I think it depends on the playing path. I think they're probably going to... If the playing path doesn't favor Lipovka, I think they're going to try and go for cars and maybe fight someone. We'll see.
Okay. Well, thank you for your contribution here, Max Ben. We're going to head over to our commentators to kick off our second air of the day, Jackie and Blake.
It's interesting because Max always just makes such thought-provoking points blank. It feels hard to kind of, even regurgitate what he said as it's just so big-brained.
Yeah, you can't quite, grasp it a lot of times, and you do need to watch it back a few times afterwards and just really get the notes in there, understand what's going on. But I'll have to do that after the show, I think, as well. Really.
Well, it was a big segment. It was a big segment.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have time right now to. I'd have to get out the notepad.
We can't break
some
it down.
highlighters.
Yeah.
No, it's just not possible. It's just not possible. But obviously, Jason just said Gladiators will win, so I get where he's coming from.
Yeah. That was very clear that Jason said that Gladiators would win again. It's definitely going to be a Gladiators first place chicken dinner on this one. I think they're just playing out of their minds right now. I don't know what's gotten into them. What's quite frustrating about this, though, is that they're getting some flashbacks to last year a little bit, where they made it past the survival stage into last chance and then got pipped to the post over towards 5th place. And I don't want all the thunder to come now. I would quite like some of it to be reserved, keep a little bit of that lightning in a bottle for the last chance phase. But again, they've just started stepping up now. I don't know what I'm talking about, really. Keep going, I guess, for the time being.
I do like the idea that you've gone, okay, well, look, you're doing pretty well right now. Let's slow that down.
Slow it down.
Look, you know, if you get too big for your boots and set the bar too high, you're not going to make it there again. And they're like, this is interesting. You are right.
The thing is, we have such an intimate relationship with this team because we commentate them all the time right over in EU. So we sort of know their tendencies. They can be a frustrating squad to watch a lot of times. But there are a lot of
confusing.
Yeah, it is confusing. There are a lot of other great teams in this lobby so far at the moment. I mean, Reject have certainly started to pump things up just a little bit. I don't think we're quite at Reject levels of green so far, but we're definitely getting there. And I mean, it all came from that simple interview that Sarah gave, which was literally the most base thing he could have done, which was, we're not going center enough. And then they went center and won a bunch of games. They're doing that again here. It seems to be working reasonably well too. So I think that they've just kind of shedded that mentality of like, it's not going too hot for us right now. Let's just go center. We'll just play our game and see what happens. And I think that's what a lot of teams are starting to do now, which is really, really good to see. You have to get out your own head here, especially if anyone who's in green right now in this last chance scenario. You just have to play out these matches. I was going to touch on Alter Ego. I'm not gonna, and it's tainted, unfortunately. I would have loved to have seen that team do a lot better, but we'll wait. We'll wait and see.
We'll see how things lie at the end, right? Because I think we've kind of beaten the horse on that one, really, in the way the games.
They've already been beaten.
That's what I mean, but it's just not worth it. But it is a shame. I do agree with you in that sense, where it feels like, especially for sort of the storyline and the narrative as well, with like the interview we had with Rosemary way back on, I believe, day one of the entire event, and how they were looking like they were playing. I was expecting a landfall for them, Blank. I was expecting it to go well and for them to go from strength to strength. But they were definitely struggling today. What have they got up the chops? Anything hidden? Anything else? Maybe we'll see. If it's going to come out, this is probably the best time to do it, right? You're kind of leaving yourself with very limited chances. We've got 3 games, this Erangel and then 2 Miramars, and basically preceding that, that's the end for you to actually accumulate any points. You're just leaving it in the hands of other teams. So we'll find out. We'll see where we're going with it. Mad Bull's been looking a lot better, though, Blank. It's been fun to watch Mad Bulls, which is nice to say. Even if they don't look exactly ecstatic every time we see him on camera. Tulicker, honestly, didn't look too pleased with his win. But I think that was mostly just like stress and relief of going, okay, we needed it. At least we have a win. If they can just keep that up, that's probably the ideal scenario. But they need to drop that stress. They did seem a bit on edge.
Yeah, come on. We need to get the team masseuse in, right? Massage those worries away. Because right now, I do think they should be a little bit more elated than they actually are. I know that sounds crazy. I have just said in a different manner, be happier, which isn't always as easy as it sounds a lot of times, as we know. And I think for Mad Bulls, realistically, they're doing really well. And I think they should be proud of themselves so far. I think they also understand that they need to keep a little bit of lightning in the bottle saved away for that last chance phase. Right now, I think they should be very pleased with where they've placed. They're currently in first. Obviously, Influence Rage still has another day to play. And I think, all things considered, by the end of it, Influence Rage will be on top in terms of the standings. But Mad Bulls, certainly done more than enough to secure their position at this point. The rest of these games now, for them, it should just be study, right? Maintain this kind of play style, maintain this kind of pressure on the rest of the squads, because more than likely you are going to have to play against quite a few of these teams again in the last chance. So the more they can stake their claim on positions around the map, the more they can stake their claim on these rotations and be a team that some of these other squads may be a little bit scared to run into. You do have that small advantage in the last chance where you have that kind of don't mess with me factor.
Don't mess with me. God, like a late night walk home blank. And you're like, well, I do not want to mess with that man. I mean, that's a good vibe to give off, you know. It definitely would increase your protection a bit.
It is true, yeah. I mean, I just say it to myself as I'm walking down the street sometimes. That's how it works.
Don't mess with me.
Don't mess with me. People are like,
the idea
Daddy, that guy's talking to himself.
That's what I mean. Just muttering under your breath. Don't mess with me, mate. Don't mess with me.
Yeah.
People just walking by. Excuse me, sir. Do you need help? Don't mess with me.
Don't mess with
All
me.
right.
Yeah, it's less that I'm giving off hard man vibes and more that I'm giving off that I need to be in an asylum vibes. Which isn't ideal, but it seems to work.
Hey, look, to each their own, Blank. You know, unorthodox strategies do seem to work best. If your enemy can't prepare for it, you know, how can you? I suppose.
Yeah.
In some way, that's a sentence.
He's done a 720 kickflip roundhouse. Oh my lord! Didn't see that coming. The standard is a 360.
Yeah, this is wild. Look at the man doing ollies in the car.
That's illegal. But
Right, put the skateboards down.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
we need to get back in the game here, and some of these teams definitely need to get a rolling. Certainly towards that bottom side of the lobby, we're looking at N-Hyper, Udo Alliance. Nigma Galaxy sort of are disappointing us so far, I would say. And I mean, they're on our screens right now. Ragey OCO will take down Lord from Nigma Galaxy. And again, they keep just hemorrhaging members, I would say, on their rotates. You know what? I didn't actually get to talk about this last game, but I will talk about it now, is that some of their rotates feel extremely greedy. I think that last match, most of the teams on that south side realized that, look, if we're on the edge already, I mean, they were rotating in from, what was it, Milta. They were battling out versus Inco early on. I think in that case, you just have to slow push your way in towards the circle. You're potentially not going to get a high placing off the back of this, but they could have easily taken up where Duxan was playing. Remember, Duxan got themselves a second place. Decent, good stuff. Yet they just drove around in that one vehicle, dropped out for a second one, lost Coops in the process, kept driving around to try and find another central position. And I think at that point, you just have to realize that this is not working out. Teams aren't just going to let you free roam anymore.
No, it did feel like one of those where, you know, you're kind of thinking, you've thrown that away a little bit. You know, you did have a potential to try and see what you could actually get out of the game. Whereas instead, I agree with you, the rotation was a little bit careless, and potentially even just the idea to jump out at that point. You know, you're only going to delay yourself even more in terms of like the startup time for the vehicle to actually get away, right? And it just meant they went from a 4, stuck in a very small camper van, to a 3, still sharing just the one small camper van. Wasn't ideal. A couple of pot shots been going out here, though. We've seen a little bit of damage coming across. Mad Balls have suffered 1 knock as well, so at least they're seeing what they can do to patch up the situation. Here's one for you as well, Blank. When we saw that first knock, it was Raging OCO in the car, and he bonneted someone. Call that Road Rage OCO.
Oh, yes. I like that. Yeah, go on. We love to see it. He was doing an ollie in the car over his head. It was good stuff. We enjoyed it. We love to see it. For Reject, not quite towards the central right now, but a single elimination, that'll do the trick. They'll be happy, pleased with that one. DX Xavier also pretty pleased with their position up towards Severny, right? You know, they don't drop Pachinki, but they get themselves a fairly good position to work their way out from. They've got a lot of positions they're currently holding on to. Now, DX Xavier, typical rotational path up towards this northeast side. So for them, again, we'll be going for something like that. Gladiators are just cutting straight through them, though. A bit of a dangerous push, I would say. I mean, you still have Tixi and Matic on the backside here with Kitsune and Meku going for this scout early on. You can see them starting to get a little bit squeezed here by the hydraulic press of teams, and the rest of the squad just is nowhere near to support. This is a greedy rotate, and I think for anyone in this location, I would be trying to spot out some of these stragglers, trying to take pot shots towards them as they move through. Again, Ralph out the vehicle, taken down by Nasa. This is very bad news bears right now for Enigma Galaxy, and I think this is something that we sort of saw over towards their group stage as well, as that at the start, doing great. You know, happy days for Enigma Galaxy. Some strong rotations were coming through for this team. However, when you looked at them further in towards the group, their rotations were getting read so easily, time and time again. I think that's the final player from Enigma Galaxy, about to go down soon, but Reject taking a lot of knocks of their own. Gladiators barely surviving themselves, good amount of damage. Meku's on the side, Swan tries to swing out, lovely nade, will take down Meku, and now it's just Matic to try and hold down the door.
Well, that's a nice trade, actually. And he's played it smart. He set himself up so that he could try and nade. I thought he was going to get the first off on the Meku with it, but instead engages towards Matic. Matic's basically as good as gone here. No HP, nothing to defend himself with. All off the back of Cluck's nades there. So nice retake on the compound. That was smart in the way he used his utility. And that's unlucky for the Gladiators. So Jason Kaplan's prediction there not coming true, Blank, because they've gone down without a single elim on that one. Got a bit too big for their boots.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But they've slowed it down, as I asked them to. Well done. You know, this is more the Gladiators we're used to. You know, going down in the first 2 stages. That's great. Brilliant. Now, do something a little bit more next game. Maybe revert back to, you know, making not the greatest rotations. To be fair, that wasn't bad by any stretch of the word. I quite liked it. Unfortunately for them, I think you make that rotation a little bit too late. You've got players that are not quite on with the vibe there in the backside with Matic and Tixi, who are not up front and personal with Kitsune and Meku. And you just get shot at by teams on the side trying to get in towards that warehouse that UDO Alliance, quite frankly, had already had a lot of control over. Could have gone a different way if Meku maybe had found that second shot, but like you said, some great nades coming out from Cluck there on UDO Alliance. In the meantime, let's have a look at where some of these other teams are playing. MBE Sports up towards that northeast side. Not a huge amount of points found, but they're consistently in the game, right? And I think that's something that's great to see so far on that side.
Yeah, they've been making a lot of cameo appearances, you know, even in situations where it's just 1 or 2 elims and they stay alive. It feels that they're always popping up to be a little bit annoying, nip at teams' heels and try and farm the odd points here and there. This is one that feels like it's just a matter of, you know, the chase at the minute. Feels like you're being forced further and further back, and Rejects know they're being hunted on this one. Trying to play with at least some map geometry to give them cover, as NASA are definitely roaming quite far out and looking to gain a good understanding of where everyone is stationed, using the reconnaissance of Xenox here with the one vehicle as a bit of a scout, and then having a backup position to fall back towards. Freak's actually still alive as well, Blank. All right, yeah, so that's just the one man that remained. I mean, his entire team basically got picked to pieces instantly. So I suppose it's best case scenario, how far can he go, right? Because looking at a placement game with this one, it's pretty early. Going to be a while on the stopwatch before we come back to that point.
Yeah, I do think it definitely comes back to that case of Enigma Galaxy. A lot of their rotations getting read into towards the end of their group and not making too many adjustments off the back of that. Again, even in their group, there was a lot of feeder teams down towards the bottom as well, which just allowed them to make these rotations. And I think you try and do the same thing again here in the survival stage, where every single team is very willing to take shots and has great gun skill. Remember, these are the best teams in the world, all fighting out for a place in the grand finals to really display what their region, what their team has to offer to everyone that wants to watch. So I think that for Enigma Galaxy, again, it's just a case you can't just randomly rotate over heals. You need to have a bit of scouting going on. You need to ensure you know exactly where some of these teams might be playing, so you can angle yourself in such a way that you can cross and be out of the line of sight of some of these squads that might take shots towards you. if we see it again on that next match from Enigma Galaxy, where they make a random rotate like that and start losing players out the back of the vehicle, I would be fairly remiss to say that this is another team that's feeling like they're going to be in the bottom 8, because I don't sense an adjustment coming through tomorrow.
No, I don't know how you'd give the whole squad a facelift in such a short space of time, right? I don't really think there is enough adjustments that could be made to really change things around quick enough. That's the problem. It feels like we're already getting to that point where, you know, the fine line blank of squads that haven't already accumulated points, especially from Group Green, right? With how tomorrow is going to go, you're not even being there to make a case for yourself, just having to sit pretty and sit on your laurels of the points you've already accumulated. Definitely for a good majority of our squads now, we're seeing that they haven't been able to cut the mustard, haven't been able to really build enough points. But there's been a bit of a change positively for a few of them. At the minute, though, we'll see how things go right here, right now. We'll stick to the facts that we're being given. Again, Reject Tokyo look to try and get themselves a bit more center and try and set up early. Melissa also on the move down, but most likely have to bypass their way through DX. Roadside setup from MBEs as well, as they've got contact. Inko taking damage from quite far away. The Mini 14 pounding the pressure out and buying them enough time to go back on the race. They've got the ridge as well, so you're covered from the road. They don't have to worry about getting tapped in the head just yet. So they can get Mondo back up. But what's the game plan here? How are they going to play this one?
Yeah, I think your difficulty comes in the fact that, you know, you're getting pushed in by the blue. It's stage 4. It will hurt. You sort of need to make a move soon, but Nasa's sort of unwilling to give up this position on the eastern side. They know how important this compound is to them over towards this eastern side of the circle. They don't just want to let a team get through for free. MB Esports, on the other hand, decide that, look, we're going to take shots over towards Inko. Becker in the way, gets absolutely crunched, but lives off the back of that. Grazed by the vehicle, but not out yet. Becker continues to take shots and will finish it there and then. Broken leg regardless.
Man, okay. Big balls are fire as damage is done onto the vehicle, and he tries to stand his ground. Becker quick on the medic maneuvers, trying to get the heal in. Meanwhile, when Lease, they're being attacked. DX have crashed onto him, but DS, they've crashed more literally just straight into the faces there, hitting the shots one by one. Melissa expiring as they've been stung by the Scorpions, it seems. Blank unable to defend from that one. DX can reset, pick clean the corpses on the floor now as well, and reset the utility they've got to work with, so they're going to be content. Meanwhile, back on the move, Xenox, he's been pretty damn quick with his scouting. He's been able to take some point man positions and look to get the damage out early. Again here, setting his focus towards the bridge. Wants to put pressure on Squash, who's so low outside the play zone as well. So a single bullet he was hoping for, try and make that elimination his, doesn't go his way. Backs off with at least the read and tries to play with the rest of the team. Vitali, he's got a read on him. Trying to take a couple of shots off, but doesn't want to do this as a solo. Blank. Playing smart, knows he still has a team to work with, even if it just is the 3 of them.
Yeah, Blue's really being the big pressure point right now for Inko, because they've got to move further in, but they know as soon as they start to head over towards the top side of this lip, they're going to be in angles of a lot of other teams that are inside the lobby. Freak here trying to hold his own up towards the Wizard Tower. You can see off towards his western side, you got Duxan as well, but Becker very happy to try and take this fight with an incredible hold versus these other squads. Freak, though, takes down Vitali, looks for another, but won't get it and will fall himself. So Enigma Galaxy come away from this game with a 1 single point up to 6 now. So a 2-point average for Enigma Galaxy so far feels pretty horrible. Quest get way further into this game than they have any others, and that's saying something considering we still have 12 teams alive. We see Procedure Evos off towards that central arena alongside with Reject and N Hyper. This could be a great game here for Evos and starting to get some of that points potential on board.
You'd like to see him have a good game as well. The talent that's there on this roster at times, man, feels so powerful. When it's a good sort of mix-up for them as well, when they come in playing off each other's comms very nicely, it's very fun to watch. So having a center position having firearms in their hands as well. We'll see if they can bring the heat, if they can command respect the longer this one goes on. FaZe back on the move as well, looking to set themselves up as the smokes will be cast out bit by bit. Redface looking like he wants to try and at least have info on this, get the eyes on the situation. The engagement here, though, is pretty easy to clean up versus what remained of Inco. One by one, they have been broken and bruised there. So the Brazilian side move from the situation now as they'll go out again. That's unlucky in the end there. Inco, of course, fought hard to even make it here, Blank, and they are getting a little bit bullied. Similar sort of things have been happening to Alter Ego. Again, pressure applied on them. Fnatic from the side at least assists where possible, but he's got to scurry off, got to reset on this one now.
Yeah, it's good potential here for them to hold out DX Xavier, right? But at the moment, it's not looking too good. Holds on the spray from quite a while, but at least does find the shots over towards Lamborghini, laying him low. Outside the circle will delay them a lot, making this very uncomfortable for the squad of DX Xavier to make it in. Pasija Evo's taking shots over towards FaZe, who are currently huddled up over towards a very, very small shack at the moment. The shots even coming through from Spec here on Nasa. But Pasija Evo's currently sat at 28 points in 11th place. Is a team that definitely needs to put some more on the board here. I think for Pasija Evo's, they have a lot of history on this team, right? And I think a lot of Indonesian fans would be very excited to see this team go through to the PMGC Grand Finals, specifically just to be able to see the twins there on the grand stage once again. But 28 points, that won't cut the bacon just yet. They need a little bit more on board, and with this very central position they currently hold on to, this is a fantastic game to rack up some big elimination points, to rack up themselves a good amount of placement points too. You know, this should be a second, third, first place game guaranteed.
It needs to be. It needs to come to fruition in that manner. Setting themselves up nicely on this one. So can they coax it out? Can they force a big point scorer from this one? And what's going to happen here in the close quarters engagement with so many teams shoulder to shoulder, all pushing further down? As soon as that zone starts nipping at their heels as well, it will cause problems. Isn't much breathing room, so you've got to fight for what you want. Pushing in now on Reject, looking to try and swoop in and steal the compound from underneath them. The nade will aggress first. Julo ready with the shotty as well, firing off buckshot from the DBS. Meanwhile, the building is burning. Lufa waits up close. Ooh, didn't even see that one, Blank. Swings round the corner, hits him, takes him off his legs.
Hello.
Genocio turns for the back door as well. Read this fight well, Blank, but he's been peeked from the window, takes half HP off him. Just waiting now on the off angle, tries to back nade whilst his teammates are fighting tooth for nail. Nade's going down. Who else wants a piece of this fight?
What is this? There's three teams on the same compound. Regioso sends out the side into the vehicle to get himself some better angles. He's fighting for his life at this point in time. Spec moves in. Hoxie's half HP, and Regioso's out on the edge. Surely he spots Junie, but he doesn't inside the smoke. And now Dukshan have another battle to get through. Need to get more players back up on their feet, but they're falling so quickly. Just Hoxie and Junie left alive. Junie, a veteran of these high-scale tournaments, but Nasa move in at the best opportune time. Will pick themselves up 9 eliminations off the back of this bad boy. Two players left alive, but on the southern edge, this is pretty decent stuff.
Damn, that was an intense fight. That one was a lot easier. That's a slay down there, as we see both of Alter Ego's last remaining members quickly packed up and swept away. Beautiful fight though in the compound, man. Even in the way that Tokyo tried to play it with rejects bouncing back and forth, right? We saw OCO, smart heads up plays at least. Even though they go down in the fight, you could see the gun skill, the mechanics there were out in full force. Nice intense compound crash though leads us into the rest of the game as FaZe again continue applying pressure. Chow's been overwhelmed, gets bitten to pieces. It's actually Evos are able to steal away the final tag onto that. So getting the extra elim for their troubles. Parajin though will be put down in the ground as he's picked off by FaZe. Now starting to make their move into the center, getting themselves closer and closer and just trying to play off whatever geometry will actually provide some sort of protection for them. And Torres, suspicious about the smokes as well, knows that there could be someone lurking, waiting to peek. And he's got contact on Star. Quick flick there, hits the head blank and shuts the man down.
Yeah, very nice little shot there and pick up from FaZe. This is a really difficult area of the map to play, honestly. You see a lot of teams play this one out. You realistically just have the tower here. There's a slight dip as we head down. It's almost unnoticeable, but it does give FaZe a significant advantage, in which case they can take shots over towards DXavier. The difficulty is the fact that so much of the western side of the circle is still in play here. The Procedure Evos have a massive advantage. Despite that, FaZe is not letting that up. And it's sort of surprising we're not seeing Procedure Evos take a little quick peek over towards this eastern side. See if they can pick themselves up some more eliminations. Right now, they're currently running on 12, placement points 16 elims. This is a game where you want to pump those elims up, even if it means you get yourself a second place. But I can see why they wouldn't want to give up the gas station here. But maybe just letting one player out on the loose, you know, sending to the side, find a quick pot shot over towards FaZe, because currently it's a 4-player team. They have a chance to try and take down Procedure Evos in the endgame.
Big chances. Definitely
There it is.
Open opportunity for this one to swing into the favor of Evos now, though. Nice first tag down the hill. Connection across, DX suffering from it as Luxy will be able to spray his way in. Gets the tap off that we needed to see. So the compound control still firmly in their favor, and they're starting to clear out the players that were edging closer towards them. FaZe, meanwhile, still down towards the ridge side. Mormon and Malaya playing together as they start to make their move up, close on in. You've got a couple of angles of connection here as well. Spec being one of them as he's firing off the warning shots. And then, for Udo Alliance, there's actually a bit of a chance here to just be a fawn in the side. If you're not cleared, you're so far back down towards the ridge. As FaZe come pushing up, you could try and get stuck into it, especially if the timing works for the push down from Spec and they draw his attention. Lots of small nuances on this one, but the big focal point is just the fact that Evos are in a great position to try and command the game. Ooh, rough recovery mission there.
Very much so. Chloe just goes down. Lynx finds Spec as he makes a rotate through. Procedure Evos now up to 5 eliminations, looking for a little bit more. And they have to push for more here because, you know, a 5 elimination game with a chicken dinner, it's all right. 15 elims, 15 points, total is decent. But, you know, pumping that as hard as you can here. They know they want more points. It's a very good initial nade that's sent out, but FaZe is on the back line. They're not looking to give this game up. Another amazing nade on the predict over towards G-Fan. And Redface is just sending these over and over again. Another one will take down GK first. Now just FSS left alive. And it will be Redface to stand out for this one. One knock goes over towards Luxy with the 5 eliminations on board. Nade sent over the top over towards FaZe. One of the final teams alongside with Oliolio over on Udo Alliance, looking for that second place placement point steal.
Evos, this is where you've just got to shut things down, close it out, don't let mistakes start to get out of hand. FaZe fighting tooth and nail though, bombarding down onto Misery, who's forced to hit the deck, so belly down to the ground, drops himself into the vehicle and tries to drive out of there, keep himself safe, susceptible to the shots though, but goes for the getaway. If we can see the res, FaZe will at least have a fair fight in the 2v2 in terms of the players that are currently up, but Evos are going for their recovery as well. They want to grab Link, have some additional numbers in this battle to play with. Quick pop heal as well. Nice peek up. Beautiful damage done with the AR. Switches to the DBS and wants to go full frontal blank. He's getting in their faces.
What is going on? Already we see another knock come through with the DBS. Misery left alive and he's taking damage here and there, able to clutch it out. But Udo Alliance, they're still in the wings here, Jackie.
Oh, skirting around the outside. Is there anything that can be done? They're low. Now would be the time to strike whilst the players are down. They're knocked. They're on their last legs. Doesn't have the full list of information that we do, though, so his decision making will be affected by this. And this just gives more time to Evos to try and reset things. Redface now back up. He's just going to be watching, looking for the peek over. Gets the heal in as well. The longer this goes on, the more numbers you're going to have to fight against against. So you do Alliance, the chance of this one being clutched now far harder. Again, falling into a position where this should be a guaranteed chicken dinner for Evos.
Man, that could have been a chicken dinner there for Udo Alliance, and Olio just need a little bit more confidence to try and go in and bruise the pride there of Procedure Evos. He's got 2 nades in hand. There's no utility on the side of Procedure Evos so far, but that might change once they start to loot some of these crates that surround and litter the battlefield. No meds available for Misery other than those stims available for him. Might go for a quick scout in the vehicle. So far this game, Luxy is absolutely putting some mega work for them. 5 eliminations so far. First initial nade sent out. After that, there is another sent over the top. A little bit of damage found, but not a lot.
Yeah, there isn't going to be too much we can really set the stage for on this one, unless somehow he was able to flip the script entirely and pull off the 1v3. That's the situation he's left himself in. So likelihood low, but potential reward very, very high here for Alliance. Just crawling his way around through the reeds right now, staying down in the ground. Luxy is jumping around, trying to get info on this. Just wants to spot where exactly he is. They're playing a more fragmented system, just looking for the trade. There's the contact, it seems. Bullets being spammed into the smoke. So just a bit of a pre-fire rather than actually locating where he is just yet. Longevity on this one being played out though, Blank. Fair play to him. You've got the time to work with. You want to make it as awkward as possible. See what he can get done here.
Yeah, I mean, the mistake was made way early, and this should definitely be a Procedure Evos win. But the thing is as soon as you see the teams go down to 2 and the amount of knocks that came through on the elimination field, Olio should just be sending in, looking for elimination points where he can. Does find a little bit of damage to start things off, but that'll be all it is as Redface finishes him off in a 21-point game there for Procedure Evos, which will make them feel a lot more secure in their standing, right? But yeah, I definitely think that Olio could have got, you know, at least 2 elims off the back of that if he just tried to flush 2 of the players, maybe even a chicken dinner. If he just went sooner, I think, like I said, as soon as you see those knocks in the elimination feed, as soon as you see it drop down to 2 teams remaining, you just fly in. You just fly in because the result is the same either way.
No, it's very true, right? There is no worse outcome. There's nothing that's going to result in you getting less points. You're not going to be forced into a third out of nowhere. I agree with you, man. As much as it's one thing where he didn't have the full situation, we obviously have a little bit more information. Going into a fight like that where they've just had that final fight, no matter what, HP is going to be low. He was basically in a 1v1 with a half HP player, but obviously didn't have the chops on him to go for it. You can see the excitement here, though. Evos looking very vocal. Luxy telling the stories from that one as they relay some of the plays they just made. Fair play, though, for what it was, Blank. Procedure Evos playing a great game there. Had a good setup early. They were confident in the way they wanted to take the compound and played it smart. So you do love to see that.
Yeah, it's awesome to see Luxy like topping the tails in terms of damage and eliminations there. I mean, a well-revered player within PUBG Mobile esports, just fell off massively over the past couple of years, but it looks like he has really put in the work and he's returning to form. Honestly, it's amazing to see because it really was that Luxy sort of was overshadowed by the likes of Ryzen and as well as Zuxi back on BTR. But look at this, Luxy's really making a stand, so he's constantly pressuring the issue, constantly trying to push for those big heights in the future, which is amazing. I'm really, really glad to see it. But again, Udo Alliance, a little bit of a throw at the end there, a little bit of a throw from Procedure Evos. They could have lost the 2 players there from FaZe, but just like Luxy, let's get back to basics with the desk.
That's right, Procedure Evos getting themselves the victory here off the back of this. We lost Jason for just a little minute, but we will hold down the fort just as Procedure Evos held down Gas Station. Looking fantastic whilst doing it here, Max.
Yeah, and able to weather the storm with 2 teams pushing on their location, right, Kalaris? You had, of course, Hyper going downhill across the road, trying to go for the engage, which, of course, you are in this location. It's very easy to abuse with that third-person perspective. You can just jump, chuck the nades, get the easiest eliminations in the world onto Hyper, but then FaZe trying to go for a third party, and I really thought that was going to be the end of Procedure Evos, but it's down to Misery. He's able to clutch it up, go for the res, and get rid of the final player of Yidu Alliance. that is how you hold down a position like that. You just make sure you can use those walls to its full potential, and that's 21 points here to start off this match.
Absolutely. Oftentimes we see the gas station as having a little bit of a vulnerability, right? Because there is that small little gap underneath the walls. However, they did a great job of zoning people away from even having angles on that little gap. And then, as you say, blasting them with the nades as they came close. So 21 points go their way. NASA, for the most part, we thought might have a grasp on gas station, kind of moved a little bit to the east, but eventually just started blasting everything anyway for those south rotates. So, I mean, it's a really big game for them as well.
I think it was J7 that was in the warehouse, and they had this, not in the warehouse, in the gas station, and they had this massive four-man split, and I thought, okay, they're going to wait for the next circle, and based on where it goes, they're going to regroup normally in what I thought at the time was going to be gas station, but no, they regrouped to the eastern side, then wrap around the southern side of the river to fight Inco, which I was a bit surprised by that, Kalaris. I didn't expect them to do that. They just completely obliterate Inco. Then third-party reject that were fighting Duxan come out on top of that to get then, as you saw, 9 eliminations. It's the craziest way to get to that point, but I mean, the eliminations showed up, so I can't argue too much. They got the points they needed in this match.
No, indeed. Them alongside Xavier as well, with the amount of limbs that they were able to garner. Very important for their campaign across what is only 2 days of gameplay, with also UDO Alliance kind of making what I would say almost a surprise entry when it comes to the upper echelons of this game. Not necessarily because of the circle and how things were playing out, but they were in a very wide split to start things off, Mac, for UDO Alliance. And then I think when it gets down to that 4v1, 3v1 scenario at the end, it's very difficult for him to make that call to try and crest the hill, right? Considering the elimination feed and how it all works out.
Exactly. You just have a big lack of information. It's like, did the entire team get flushed out? Is there just one 3-man team remaining? Is it going to be like a bunch of solos? We're just not quite sure at that point. So let's not take the risk. Let's try and survive to try and just secure second place. So I do get the idea. If he did know that was a misplay, but I just, as you said, I don't think he had the information that it was a full squad. So if he did know, then unfortunately it could have been the good time to strike, but it was still a second place. So a good match, and currently the best match for UDO Alliance.
Hello, Jason.
I was actually just doing my impression of Gladiators that game, just not being here. I don't know, that's a little mean. But I think this game, though, was mostly just about the teams who desperately needed to get some points under their belt, getting those points under their belt. You guys already talked about Besija. Obviously, this is their last day of play as well, so they really have to rack up as much as possible to build that buffer. UD Alliance, this is the first time they are playing, so they can get some steam going here as they go on forward into this one. And Nazir, which, I mean, 9 eliminations, that's a good start. I think for me, for a team like that, it's a confidence booster. It's to show them that, okay, we can compete against these teams, even though we might have been struggling the first couple of matches, but where can they go from here? And obviously, we still have that one Erangel left to come today. Gladiators, going out early, but again, they should be relatively safe. Alter Ego, not really much to say about them either, if you had anything to chime in with Kalaris, but
I mean,
not gonna
honestly,
force you.
I mean, as you're saying for Nasser, I like their decision making to just start sweeping and start eliminating. Like, if you think about giving up a gas station location, yes, you could sit on the edge, on the east edge of that circle and just slowly creep up to that. Maybe you'd have to kind of have a bit of a skirmish with the remaining members of Alliance, kind of north of you, as they're also wanting to be approaching from that similar angle. Maybe you lose people out on that, but they decided, no, let's take that south side, which is covered a little bit more by, you know, the terrain as a whole, and actually take some really good skirmishes. So I'm impressed from that game.
I agree.
Well, we'll see if they can maintain any sort of momentum though going into the next match here. Let's throw it back to our casters, Jack Gimbley.
Thanks, Jason. I know, man. It's a treat, Blank, right? With the way that the games have been going so far today. They just keep delivering. We keep getting some real moments of excitement. So, honestly, I'm just kind of living for it, man. This is a good time to be enjoying the survival stage. From a safe position anyway, right? If we're in the games, different story. But watching them, I'm having a field day.
Absolutely. I love that, you know, Jason is so excited that he went slow-mo for that throw. That was amazing. Beautiful stuff. We got the hands up. Everyone wants to speak to the teacher, apparently. Tunica doesn't know what's going on. That's fine. Zerich is slamming down. What a weird scenario that was. Okay. I do feel,
Slam.
yeah, it's like 2 boys in the back, like, we're just here. Zerich and Tulika doing everything. Zerich is like, another rotation gone wrong again. But to be fair to the Mad Bulls, I think, honestly, Tulika probably is a little bit stressed because he has done so much work for them.
Yeah.
I think he's really, really doing well for the team. And they should be very, very pleased with his results because I think he's come a long, long way in the year he's been playing with the Mad Bulls. It used to be a case that he was a bit of a loose cannon on the team, always going a little bit too far away from them, but he plays much more as a good teammate now. Supporting Zerich and being a great frontliner without getting too aggressive. So I've been very, very excited to see the development coming through from Tulika in particular.
He's looking good, man. He really is. And I think, you know, it's interesting because this entire Mad Bulls roster can definitely deliver at times. And we've always kind of set that precedent that they are very exciting to watch. They are very explosive. It just wasn't super consistent, was I think the problem with it. Whereas now, at least into survival stage, it kind of seems like something has clicked and they've realized, you know, we really need to make sure that we're the ones making our own future for ourselves. So we're free chicken dinners already under the belt, which by and large, you know, that's no easy feat. They've definitely had to put the work in. That's over the space of the 2 days as well. And we're only really, you know, a handful of games in today. We still have this last Erangel and then 2 Miramars as well. So anything else Mad Bulls can find on the day, they're going to be happy with. We'll see, though, as we are getting back into it. Third and final Erangel then. So any chance for some last-minute shenanigans, we'll see if they'll be coming out.
Yeah, I mean, for some of these teams, you might want to go for a hot drop potentially. It's the last map of the day, so it's one where you could pull out some secret sauce moves on the Erangel match, especially with Group Green, this being their final match of Erangel they will be playing, so they could surprise some of these teams. Maybe. We'll see what happens if they just keep it basic, though. I think a lot of these teams are kind of really leaning into consistency more than anything at this point in time, realizing that, look, it's not easy to pick up these points, and I think for us, it's just a better idea that we just keep things going the way they want it to. But Zerich actually drops over towards Nasa, but I think this is more of a case of this playing path causing this more than anything. But this is going to be difficult, particularly with the fact that a lot of the Mad Bulls are not in close contention. Luckily, they've got 2 shotguns, which are going to be extremely useful in this close range combat that they're going to get themselves into very shortly.
It looks so terrifying watching a man in a raincoat with a blade just crouching around the corner blank. It's very horror movie-esque, but it's not October anymore. It's November, so we're getting closer towards the Christmassy season. I imagine we'll see some gifts being given out inside of the compound, most likely being bullets, though, with those shotguns. Seems like the phones are going down, and there probably has been a technical issue, so probably going to need a rehost on this bad boy. So cut short. Not going to be seeing any shenanigans on this one. We'll relive it, get things sorted, and then get people back in for another test on the old Erangel.
I do like that, you know, it sort of felt like Mad Bulls stopped that match. They were like, we're in a horrible situation, guys. Can we just get a rehost? Come on, man.
We shut it down.
Yeah, we shut it down. I mean, I think most teams, considering how quickly we got that rematch as well, down, slam of the desk, considering how quickly we got that rematch going through as well, most teams would be pretty pleased with how that one worked out, considering how horrible that playing path was, right? Not easy to work through with.
Yeah. No, exactly. Honestly, unless we roll the dice and end up getting a critical fail again, right? It should be better. It should be better than that for most of the squads in terms of easy routes to your common drop spots. So hopefully won't be all doom and gloom for them, and shouldn't take too long to get things sorted out and straight back in. Nice seeing some of our players on screen as well today, Blank. You know, there's not been a lot of time with the player cams today, and it does give us a bit more of an insight into how some of the teams are looking. That sort of human element. Oh, hello, I say human. We've got Man Them Sith Lord over here.
I know. Maku just in the dark right now.
Look at him.
Yeah, very
I have the
spooky.
power to win any chicken dinner, no matter the length of time in the survival stage.
Oh, dear me.
Unlimited points on the last day.
That's what they need. That's what they need at the end of the day. I mean, realistically, we need to start getting some of these points going. And if you need to become the Sith Lord, you need to start shooting out some bolts of lightning from your fingers to get it done. All respect to Maku, realistically.
Hey, I'll give it to him, man. It's a good look. Honestly, it's a good look. This is nice, though. I have missed this. You know, even seeing Quest on screen, man. You know, Al Haji, the man is just so emotive as well. Kind of wears his heart on his sleeve a little bit. So it's nice sort of getting a glimpse with the camp of Quest, seeing how they're looking. Obviously, rough day for them. Rough span of days, really. But still looking like at least the mental fortitude is there. A little bit of frustration, maybe bubbling to a boil. But that could be used to their edge. The FaZe cam now on screens as well. And damn, we got the stats to back it up as well. FaZe not actually having a bad day of it, to be honest, Blank.
Yeah, I think for FaZe, it's been pretty decent. I think we got the dance moves from Mela earlier on, and now we're coming back for some more. Oh, okay. I thought I was going in a different direction. We got the love heart instead. That's great. Thank you very much. For FaZe, honestly, that last game was really, really cool. I enjoyed the fact that we saw the almost 2v4 coming through. They looked pretty strong with it. There's definitely some strong players on that team. Melo and Ventora's really, really long-standing players within the scene as well. PUBG Mobile, they've done some really good stuff in the past. We got Enigma Galaxy on screen at the moment. A team that's just kind of struggled, right? And I think that one of their major issues, they don't find enough vehicles, which feels like, you know, it feels like you're failing at the first aspect of PUBG Mobile. And that feels bad to say because I know they're a good team, but that's like rule number one, right? Just get some vehicles on the drop and go from there.
Look, the way to word it in a friendly manner is they've been very cost efficient on fuel today. They've been using the you know, the carpool lane.
Yeah.
Like.
It's not ideal, that's for sure.
It's definitely not.
I mean, we're trying to put olive oil in the tank right now. It's not working. Let's just get.
That's not going to work. That's not dinosaur juice.
Yeah, let's get some more vehicles. Let's get some more dinosaur juice from the ground. Let's pump it up and just get on moving because 4 vehicles better than 1 vehicle. I don't feel like I need to say that on PMGC, but there you go. But 20 seconds before we get back into our 4th match of the day. Bit odd because again with that plane path. No, calm down.
I do love the idea that they've not communicated this to Two Liquor at all. So he's just sat there like, why do they keep putting their hands
What's going on? They're all becoming mannequins at this point in time. We don't exist. These are just stand-in dolls for Naomi as well as Frozen.
Right then. Well, let's get our seatbelts snapped in as it's time to go back to Erangel. Last game of the day today for this map. Following this, we get the back-to-back Miramar. So a bit of a change of pace there, a bit of a change of scenery that will be just around the corner. Who's getting that last chicken dinner on Erangel, though? And how's this game going to go? Let's find out. Plane path, a little bit nicer.
Yeah, way nicer actually on this one because I think whenever you get that plane path that moves down slope right on the edge of the map, you're given so many limited options, especially forcing a lot of teams to drop over towards the Sosnovka military base as well. And if you do want to get towards one of your original drop spots, you sort of have to drop towards that middle third of the plane path, which means that more than likely you're going to run into at least another 10 other teams trying to do the same thing alongside with you. So picking up some of those trash drops, trying to pick up those vehicles, going to get very hairy indeed. So with this plane path, you're going to have a lot more room to drop out when you want to and kind of spread yourself across the map. Even though it is far off towards the western side, a lot of teams will be much more pleased on their approach. Nacer dropping over towards Rozhok right now alongside with the Mad Bulls. I don't think they'll be dropping right on top of them potentially, but we'll wait and see. We get another circle very similar to our last one on our angle up towards that northern side of the map.
Okay then. A little bit of water on that boy for now, but it won't matter too much. Early doors. Looking at some of the spots though, just seeing if there's going to be any shenanigans here for our last Erangel. We've seen a couple of hot drops sprinkled in for good measure today, but nothing overly audacious here. The only close proximity we really see is on screens now, with Mad Balls a couple of miles away, especially with the move that's coming in, different trajectories for the rotations. Well, you can't be doing that. If you look directly at the sunblank, it's quite bad for your eyes.
He's got a blue light filter on the red dot. Don't worry.
Oh, he's okay.
He's all good.
I was worried there for a second. His retinas would be taking damage, Blank.
Oh, absolutely. Won't be able to see the rest of the game. Just have like the smallest pinpoint of vision towards the center.
Just really realistic PUBG Mobile. Yeah, I've looked at the sun. And
I can no longer see. It's not good. Can we get a rematch, please? Rehost.
I've been flashbanged by the big orb.
What is big orb in the sky? I do not understand.
Where has this come from?
Who is he? Yeah, it doesn't
Be like the,
oh my God,
the bear in the
stop
big blue house, mate.
Yeah.
You know?
We'll have to
Say hello
explain
the
what the sun is. Well, everybody. No, I'm only joking. But we are going to head over towards the northern side for the time being. NBE Sports. I don't think they've done too badly at all. Kaze's kind of been like the main driving force of the team, though, right?
Yeah.
Hitting some really, really good shots recently, but again, some of their rotates feel just a little bit lacking, you know, getting caught on the edge side quite a few times, which doesn't feel great for them as a team, because I do think that when this team is put under pressure, some of their rotations to try and extricate themselves from those positions become a little bit haphazard. I think they've been fortunate on some of these other games where, for instance, they had an opportunity on that last match to escape and they zoomed in over towards Inco and immediately got put down by them. But that could have been a much better fight if it wasn't the fact that Becker just withstood the force of a vehicle going 60 miles per hour. Doesn't make much sense to me. FaZe, though, immediately take a knock. Zfan will move up. Mormon has only got the shotgun, but a great drop shot there will take down Shifan. A little bit of that greed being punished away there in the box compound.
So Mormon with the AK. Slays from far away. Throws the clip back in, as they will hit the DECK. Gets the res back off as well. Meanwhile, Car Chase City is the name of the game here, it seems. Ooh, contact from the side, though, baited in as they pulled into Quest's domain. And right now, they are ready to rumble. They assault onto the close range players. Ooh, good damage done onto the getaway vehicle as well, as Al Haji is throwing out the bullets. And they're chasing the Quest convoy hard on the tail, Blank, looking to see if they can actually fight this one back and chase him down.
I mean, they desperately need the points, right? And I mean, FSS is moving straight up towards the top side of Everest, trying to escape as quick as he can. Get his level 3 in hiking done here. Fahidan sends towards that top side, just tries to spot for him, but I don't think FFS is going to be in this situation for too long at all. Al Haji will just be medkitting away, gets himself back up to full HP here. But FaZe, I think they did a pretty decent job to sort of resume operations after taking that initial knock there from Zfan. And it will be N-Hyper who really does suffer the consequences of getting too aggressive in this location, dropping down to just 2 players now.
DX on screens here, getting the looting done. DX been a little bit less uncontested in terms of fighting for common drop spots. They've been willing to actually mold themselves into less common drops or work around some of our other teams. That's something that we are now seeing from them, which was quite uncharacteristic of what they were doing game in, game out, at least back during the regulation part of the group stage with the full group green. So shows at least some smart adjustments for them there. FS did at least get away. He's been able to run down and avoid Quest's onslaught.
Yeah.
But what have you really got left, man? The entire team off the back of that was basically split in half, right? Like, sure, they're still alive, but you're down to just 2 with low HP and not really much to work with in terms of the early loot either. You haven't had a chance to kind of pick anything clean. So rough start for them, to say the least.
Yeah, I don't even think FS even knows where he's going at this point in time. Sends up towards Zaki, of all places. Enigma Galaxy make their way in towards Rozok. I think this is a bit of a lion's den that you don't really want to get into too early on. Easy gets taken down by